in this thing. See who all showed up. What's happening, young man? I'm waiting for some people to get up in this thing. It's good, it's good, it's good. Definitely good, man. Definitely going good, man. How everybody doing, man? Young CJ. Yeah, I'm sleepy too, man. I made a good meal, man. Good meal, some pasta and a rich sauce. So I'm sleepy too, man. But I wanted to come kick it on here with y'all about the solstice, man, because from, the equinox in fall, from the fall equinox up to the solstice, it gets darker and darker and darker. And the solstice is when the sun is reborn. So in ourselves, it's an opportunity to become aware of our consciousness again, our divinity, our true self, and move out of a period of shadow energy in our life, man. So I wanted to take time out to, inspire you guys over the next 2 days, because the solstice ends on the 22nd, and it takes us from Jupiter energy to Saturn energy. And Jupiter energy is naturally telling us to expand and grow. So as Jupiter tells you to expand and grow, sometimes you get out of pocket. But Saturn energy, as it goes from Sagittarius season to Capricorn, starts to put boundaries up and build a foundation. So all the growth that you had throughout the year can, be stacked up. You have to expand out and then build up. So, when you go from Sagittarius season, and Sagittarius is about, higher education, expanding your knowledge beyond school and your everyday work environment and level of knowledge, whether it's college. It's also your house of, Sag is your ninth house, is the house of faith, hope, beliefs, wishes, your spiritual truths and things like that. So now it's taking you from that expansion and growth that you had to the 10th house, which is Capricorn and ruled by Saturn, and telling you, make your mark on the world. How are you going to make your mark on the world if you don't have any foundation or no clear boundaries of where your growth is supposed to be at? So it's important that you know, ask for that light from the solstice to give you more awareness of how you're supposed to use your growth. And, you know, growth comes from adversity, it comes through struggles, it comes through problems, you know, and I'm sure we all have had our own little bit of hell throughout the year. So that gave you the opportunity to grow. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to use that to structure your life to make sure that you're not creating more suffering for yourself? The solstice, it brings the opportunity for more consciousness, more awareness to how we use our growth, and it encourages us to use our growth. But you have to make decisions that you're not going to let the challenges of the year put you in victim mode, man. Because when you do that, you deny yourself opportunity to grow, and when you're denying yourself the opportunity to grow, you're doing a disservice to the people that you got soul contracts with, man. So like it's really important for you guys to be aware of who you are and be who you're meant to be, man. Not how, you know, life expects you to be or who circumstances mold you to be. Be who you're meant to be. When you're the person that you're meant to be, man, you're putting yourself in a position to help yourself and other people, man. And just like with the autumn equinox, the days start getting shorter, the light decreases. With the solstice, the light's going to increase. The light's going to increase, and it's going to give you an opportunity to be more aware of your divinity. And when I say divinity, I'm telling you about your God self. Regardless of what religion you believe in, I'm talking about spirituality, and spirit is energy. You know, and there's something that moves us all. It's something that allows all of us to exist and sense and feel the feelings of other people, to relate to people, you know, to want to see other people grow and do well, the energy that drives us to do well. That's your spirit, your soul. So for the solstice, focus on being aware of that light that moves you. Being aware of the light that moves you, and taking action to create the reality that you desire for yourself. There's a lot of people who want things and say they dream of things and say, you know, I'm gonna make this happen, but you don't put the energy behind it. You don't take the steps to manifest the reality that you say that you want. Now is the time, the solstice, to do your spiritual work, your meditation, your affirmations, your spells, your prayers, whatever you call it, that helps you manifest. Whatever you call it. Whatever you call it that helps you manifest what you want, the reality that you want. Today and tomorrow are the days that you should be working on that the most. Bring it to your conscious awareness. Asking for, you know, the discernment necessary to see the right steps that you need to take to manifest the reality that you desire. There's a lot of things that's gonna happen in this coming year, man. And you know, it's funny because I tell you guys how things are gonna go all the time. And you know, some people still don't get it. But to each their own. But there's some interesting things gonna happen, man. And there's a lot of people that's gonna be disappointed. You know, disappointed that, you know, their vote didn't generate the reality that they thought it would generate. That's what I'll say. And I'm not telling you this from a Democrat or a Republican standpoint. I'm telling you this as somebody who is well versed in astrology and well versed in geopolitics. You know? But regardless of what goes on in the world, when you move from your spirit, it doesn't matter. Everybody who's meant to help you is going to arrive. Every opportunity that's meant for you is going to arrive. There's a saying, you know, when it comes to Venus, they call her Fortuna Minor, and then they say fortune flees from those who chase her. What are all the things that you're doing to chase money? Are you doing what's natural to you? Where you can demonstrate the most value that you can offer to the world? Are you doing the thing that would allow you to make the biggest impact on humanity? If you're not, then you'll never make the type of money that you want to make. Because you're not doing what resonates with your Venus energy. You got to get Venus aligned if you really want to make money, man. If you want to be successful. If you want to have a luxurious life. Because Venus rules Taurus, and Taurus rules the money and the luxury. And then Venus also rules Libra. So it's the good and the bad of all things. Luxury and poverty. Love and hate. Peace and war. You know, virgin and prostitute. Venus rules all that. So you gotta understand your Venus placement in your chart, man. My Venus is in Scorpio. My Venus is in Scorpio. It's conjunct my Uranus. And that's in my 11th house. And 11th house is in you know, the house of organizations, you know, community and things like that. Uranus rule my second house of money. I make my money in technology. I make my money online. And then with Venus and Uranus being conjunct in Scorpio, that tells you I make my money with occultism. Specifically astrology, because Uranus rules astrology. Venus ruled Libra. Libra's on my 11th house, on my 10th house cusp. And I got Taurus down there on the 5th house cusp. I do what I meant to do, man. So I'm never falling short on the paper. Because I do what I meant to do. I do what resonates with the money frequency in my chart. Are you doing what resonates with your Venus sign? Are you? Are you doing something connected to your second house and the ruler of your second house? You have to align with that Venus energy, man. You have to. You have to. That's what's going to build your self-worth. That's going to build your magnetism. Because Venus is the power of attraction. If you're not moving in the energy of your natal Venus sign and being the most effective in the house that it's in, you are not going to attract the things or people or situations that you say you want to attract, because you're not using your natural magnetism. Does this make sense? You have to get Venus aligned, man. You want to start understanding your wealth secrets. You know, how you naturally attract. Venus is the planet that rules attraction. How you naturally attract money, opportunities, bullshit. It's all in your Venus placement. It's all in your Venus placement, man. You got to get Venus aligned. You know, and that's what, you know, my focus is becoming more aware of my role in spreading love and abundance to the masses. That's what I'm here to do. And you've been taught that everything comes through toil and work. But when you start moving in your Venus sign, you understand, you know, you might have to do some work, but it ain't gonna be no toil, because you're moving in your Venus nature and attracting everything that you're meant to attract. You start attracting the things that you're meant to attract. Do you know where your Venus is at in your chart? That tells you how you naturally attract things. If it's in Aries, your assertiveness, your fiery nature, your willingness to, you know, take the lead and be an originator. You have to understand your Venus, man. You have to understand your Venus. So for the solstice, I highly recommend that you seek out and invoke and evoke, you know, more light, more awareness, more clarity of, you know, how to use your Venus's energy to naturally attract the things and people and situations that are meant for you. Because when you really start understanding your Venus nature, you're not chasing anymore. Fortune flees from those who chase her. When you understand your Venus nature, you're acting in your Venus nature, you start to attract things. You start to attract, because that's Venus's power. Attraction. You're able to use charisma and magnetism to get the things that you desire. So I highly recommend for the solstice, you get familiar with your Venus. Look to grow in light. Meaning look to have more awareness, more, you know, clarity in how to vibrate at that frequency of your Venus placement. Y'all seen that picture I posted of the spells I've been doing? You know, so we working around here. that's one of the biggest secrets, man. You know, all planets got big secrets. But Venus, when you start to understand that, all your money problems start to, you know, become irrelevant. They start to fade away because you're attracting the things that you're meant to attract. You know, you're drawing in the people that create the conditions for you to be able to, you know, get what you want out of life. You know, you feel good about yourself because the symbol of Venus is a hand mirror, so it shows our reflection, and our reflection is what, you know, is going to get projected out into the world. What you see in yourself is what you project out to the world. You project that out to the world, no matter how you might look or dress. But if you project that unworthiness or negative energy or negative thoughts about yourself, you're going to repel all the blessings and stuff that are supposed to come to you naturally. Venus is the natural ruler of the second house. So it's always connected to your self-worth. So if Venus is connected to your self-worth and Venus rules money, and you reflect on yourself poorly, what frequency will Venus magnetize your aura to be? A poor one. And when you're attracting poverty energy, you're repelling wealth energy. But because they're opposite poles of the magnet, they can't exist in the same space. You might see some relief. You might get a little lick, but guess what? You gonna go fuck that money right off. Because you feel like you don't deserve it. And it's burning a hole in your pocket, so you gotta get rid of it. Because you're not aligned with your Venus energy. If you understood your Venus energy and the first thing you bought was something to pay homage to that Venus energy, you got like Venus in Cancer or Virgo, those are things that rule food. First thing you do when you get your bread is go buy a nice meal and share it with somebody you care about to nurture them. The energy of those two Venus signs, you feeding it. You feeding it, and more is going to manifest to you. More is going to manifest to you because Venus is going to attract what makes her happy. And the things that make Venus happy in your chart are things that are ruled by the sign that Venus is in your chart. That's why I tell you, you know, a long time ago, get the rulership book. Get the rulership book. It helps you understand the nature of the planets, the signs, the houses, and the things that they govern. I don't never recommend nothing to you guys that you don't need to have. Never. I don't never offer you no products or services that you're not going to benefit from. Ever. Ever. You know? So when you take time out over these next 2 days, look into your Venus sign, focus that solstice energy on your Venus sign, and start learning to align with Venus, man. You don't have to be fucked up out here I'm telling you now, not emotionally, financially, or otherwise. Your refusal to learn your nature is causing your suffering. It's causing your suffering. From your relationships to the lack of relationships. It's because you do not understand yourself. It's a maxim that say, know thyself and you shall know all things. Know thyself and you shall know all things. You'll never have disappointing relationships because you won't gravitate towards people who don't resonate with your chart, your inner nature. You'll seek out people who resonate with your nature. It's not just, let me read my chart. Oh, this is good stuff to know. It's a roadmap to success in this life, man. A roadmap. A clear roadmap if you know how to read it. And people, just think of Venus on a superficial level of love, relationships, luxury, money, things like that. But it's always the polar opposite. And when you look at love, people don't look at, why am I experiencing a lack of love? You're experiencing a lack of love, or a lack of fulfilling love, because you aren't following your Venus nature. You're trying to get somebody that's not capable of producing the energy you need to feel love, to feel worthy. And because you don't have knowledge of that, you just keep going through the same cycles. It's time to get Venus aligned. That's what my focus is, man. And some of you guys been in the planetary magic, some of y'all been in my planetary magic classes. I told you guys about your power planet and things like that. Some of y'all are in my study group. Venus is my power planet. Venus and Scorpio, I love the occult. I love the mysterious, the hidden things, the secrets. I make it a point to know. And it always pays big for me. I do what's Venus aligned for me. You have to learn to do the same. Your chart is a roadmap for you. It's a roadmap for you. And Venus governs your attraction and your repelling. Your repelling energy, your attracting energy, your magnetizing energy, your repulsing energy, your love energy, your hate energy. Your Venus, when you understand that, you're going to be able to dramatically limit your suffering. I'm not saying sad times or hard times aren't going to come. I'm not going to say you're not going to be disappointed. But if you understand how you're supposed to handle that disappointment based on your Venus placement and your moon placement, because those are the two planets that affect your emotions and how you feel and how you perceive yourself after you have an experience, because Venus is the hand mirror. It's the hand mirror that you look into and reflect on yourself with. How you see yourself, how you perceive yourself after an experience that wasn't so pleasant. How do you allow that experience to change how you perceive yourself? If you're on your job and moving according to your Venus, you're gonna understand, okay, my Venus is in Virgo. I'm gonna make sure I don't allow myself to torment myself by thoughts of being perfect, because Virgo is a sign of perfectionism. And sometimes when somebody talk down on you, you get hypercritical of yourself and you start, nitpicking with yourself and finding ways to invalidate yourself and invalidate your success and your worthiness. And then this goes into a perpetual cycle. You understand your Venus, you're going to say, just like I can count the negative details, I can count the positive details. What can I learn from this? And you can start analyzing, because analytical is part of the, Virgo nature. So, you start analyzing how you can get the most out of this situation, how it can benefit you, how you can, turn lemons into lemon meringue pie. Does that make sense to everybody? And I can get detailed about this and break down precise information to you guys because I got Virgo on my 9th house. So, my spiritual belief system and knowledge of the occult, because my Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, is in Sagittarius in my 12th house. My knowledge isn't just book knowledge. It's knowledge from the soul. Knowledge from the soul. You have to get down on your Venus, man. You have to get aligned on your Venus, man, and really start valuing yourself and understanding how to attract the love, the happiness, the success, the peace, the friendships that you desire, man. That's what that Venus aligned society is about. Not just knowing and understanding your Venus placements and how you attract people and, how to, go into the synastry charts to make sure you're making the right business alignments and personal alignments. Because when you're attracting all the people that you're meant to attract in your life by pushing yourself to the world based on your rising sign, because that's how the world perceives you, and the ruler of that rising sign is in a house, so that's the area where you should be projecting that face to the world. See what I'm saying? You start to attract the people that you're meant to attract into your life, the people that can take you to the next level. Astrology is a beautiful thing when you know how to look beyond the surface. It's a blueprint. It's a blueprint. It's an owner. It's the owner's manual to a machine with infinite power, with limitless power. But just like when you get a new computer or you get a new car or a new refrigerator or a new microwave, you don't read the owner's manual. You plug it in and make it do what it do. I know I gotta put gas in this mug. You don't read the owner's manual. So you learn stuff as you go. Bump your head a few times till you figure it out. Y'all know I'm not lying. Y'all know I'm not lying, man. Bump your head a few times till you figure it out. You know, and then be, oh, okay, that's how this works. When you could have went to page 52 in the owner's manual and understood this from the gate. So your natal chart is like the owner's manual, man. It tell you how to get the best performance out of this human experience. Tell you how to get the best performance out of this human experience, man. So you gotta start living by your chart. Living by your chart. You know, your 11th house, it talks about your networking, your socialization, and you know the benefits, because it's the second house from the 10th. You know, the 10th house is your place in the world, not just your career, but your place in the world. How you make your mark on the world. Are you doing things that, you know, align with your 10th house energy? If not, don't expect to make an impact. You know, keep scrolling on Instagram and liking other famous people's pictures. And that doesn't mean everybody's going to be a celebrity or a movie star based on, you know, aligning with your 10th house energy. Because sometimes you're meant to be the star of the community. Sometimes you're meant to be, you know, the star at your company. Or somebody else's company. It all depends where the ruler of that 10th house is at. The 10th house, the sign on the 10th house, and the planets in the 10th house are going to tell you the frequency you got to vibrate at. But where the ruler of the 10th house is at, if you got, you know, Libra on the 10th house, where the ruler of the 10th house is at, is going to tell you where you're going to get, where you got to be to get that level of success that you want. It's going to tell you where you got to be to get that level of success. Where should you, you know, project that 10th house energy vibration? If the ruler of the 10th house is in the 4th house, it's going to have to do with, you know, your family, you know, connections that your father had, you know, your relatives, you know, working from home. You want to get the most out your chart, you got to understand it. You want to attract the things that you want in life. You want to live luxurious. Got to understand your Venus. And luxury isn't the same for Venus and Leo as it is for Venus and Capricorn. And Venus and Gemini's luxury ain't the same as Venus and Scorpio. So you have to understand what type of luxury resonates with you. And when you understand that, you start doing those things, and then more money and more wealth come. Because it gives you the ability to get into that thing more. To attract that thing more. Does this make sense to you? In ancient Egyptian times, the solstice, you know, represented when Osiris was resurrected. Fall, which aligns with Scorpio, represented Set, you know, and dark forces coming over the earth, you know, the earth becoming barren because, you know, the sun god was killed. Osiris, the sun god who made everything fertile and grow, he was killed by the darkness, Set. The solstice represents the resurrection of Osiris. And when Set or Isis, so rewind a little bit, Set and 72 conspirators murdered Osiris, put him in a sarcophagus, nailed it closed, threw it in the Nile River. Isis searched for his body forever. Finally, she lands in Tyre, which is in Lebanon, today Lebanon. Go look at the Lebanese flag. You see that tall cedar tree. Christmas tree. So Isis gets led to, you know, the king of Tyre. His palace, in one of the columns was Osiris's casket lodged in there, and it was emitting a sweet perfume. It was a cedar tree, a Christmas tree, and the pillar was decorated, illuminated. And because it gave off that sweet perfume, the people who visited the palaces would put down gifts. So, you know, a Christmas tree goes up. Christmas tree goes up at my house for the solstice every year. You know, because I like to celebrate the rebirth of light, the resurrection of Osiris. Now, you know, do whatever you want to do. But I'm just letting you know what's really going on. You know. And being robbed of our culture and identity. Man, I'm not worried about anybody conspiring to do nothing. Anybody who conspire against me, they already gone before they can start. It already starts to end for them before they can start. Their end is being engineered before they can even start. So I don't worry about none of that. But, you know, when you wear your chart, you can start engineering the life that you want. Your Mercury is going to tell you how to get the most out your brain. How to get the most out your brain. Mercury rules your thoughts. It rules your communication style. Regardless of, you know, your life and your experiences, you know, whether you're from the hood or you're from the suburbs or from China or from wherever, your Mercury is going to tell you how you need to communicate in order to get the most out of life. It's going to tell you how you need to communicate, how you need to think, the way you should be networking, the nature of the people that you should network with. You get what I'm saying? And because it rules your brain, how you think and how you communicate, it also gives you insight into your learning style. When you understand your learning style, your potential for developing a level of genius increases dramatically. Because you're not trying to learn according to what works for somebody else. You're learning according to your nature, the nature of your sign, and that allows you to absorb information naturally. You know, in schools they teach you, you know, the smartest person is a person who can memorize the most stuff. You know, follow the instructions best. And, you know, from that indoctrination, a lot of people come up thinking that they're stupid when they're not, you know, and they've been taught to learn outside their natural style of learning. So imagine, you know, getting everywhere, walking on your two legs, and then you've been walking like that for 20 years. You know, we'll just say 20 years. Now all of a sudden they say, you got to get down on all fours. That's not the way you're supposed to be moving. You're supposed to be moving on all fours. How long would it take for you to adapt to getting where you got to go on all fours? It's not going to be something easy for you to do. It's going to slow you down in your journey. Does that make sense? So you have to learn according to your Mercury. You have to learn according to your Mercury. You have to communicate according to your Mercury. When it comes to, you know, getting what you want out of life, you know, communication is important. So Mercury is important. You know, how people perceive you is important. So your rising sign is important. Venus rules attraction and magnetism, you know, self-worth, and, you know, our possessions. So Venus is important to getting what you want out of life. And then how you assert yourself, how you take action, you know, how you put your best foot forward is governed by Mars. So Mars is important in getting what you want out of life. It tells you how to assert yourself. It tells you how you need to take action to get results that you desire. If your Mars is in Capricorn, it's exalted. That means that's the best place that Mars can be. The best sign that Mars can be in. And it says when you assert yourself with discipline, when you take the emotional side out of decision making, when you structure how you're gonna move, when you plan it out, when you have the ability to delegate, because Capricorn is the sign of the boss, and the boss tells this person to do this and this person to do that. When you're moving like that, when you're asserting yourself like that, then you're moving in your Mars and Capricorn. When you're being lazy, when you're not organized, when you're not disciplined, you're not asserting yourself according to your Mars, so you're not going to get the type of things that you want out of life. I don't care who got the most followers on this motherfucker. Ain't nobody fucking with me with this shit. Nobody. I don't care who got the most followers. Ain't nobody fucking with me with this shit. You have to understand your chart when it comes to getting the most out of life. You got to get Venus aligned. Got to get Venus aligned, man. You know one thing about me, I'm going to turn you all the way up. I'm going to turn you all the way up. And that's what that Venus aligned society is going to do. It's going to turn you up. Turn you up, man. Because most of the suffering that we go through is because, you know, we ain't Venus aligned. We looking for love in the wrong places, looking for value in the wrong places, don't know where to find our self-worth. You know, you're not asserting yourself properly. All the planets work together. They all work together like a well-oiled machine to create a human experience that can either be pleasant than a motherfucker or horrible than a motherfucker. Based on the reality of what you attract through your Venus placement. And are you going to experience that Venus energy in a negative way or a positive way? Mercury and Venus are the planets that rule two signs. Mercury rules Gemini and it rules Virgo, and Venus rules Taurus and it rules Libra. They rule two signs because, you know, our feelings and our thoughts play major roles in how our reality is engineered. Did you hear what I said? They rule two signs, the signs of the mind and the signs of the feelings, because your thoughts and emotions play a major role in how your reality is engineered and how you experience reality. What do you think about most of the day? Your problems. Your problems that you know exist, problems that have happened in the past, and problems that might exist. The universe always gives you what you focus on. Your thoughts create feelings. Feelings create energy. Energy is a vibration, and a vibration magnetizes. It sends waves out into the universe, which causes a reaction that sends waves back to you. This is the energy I'm putting out. Energy of a similar signal and signature and frequency is going to reach back out to you. You know? And when you put those frequencies out to the universe based on your thoughts that create feelings, and feelings are energy, that's why you can feel them between yourself and another person, or in a room when there's conflict going on and you come in and you pick up on things. That's a feeling, that's energy, you can feel it. if it affects your physical body, it first had to have the ability to affect your energetic body. So your thoughts and feelings create the reality that you experience. So are you thinking according to your Mercury sign placement? Are you living in the most negative side of, the feeling spectrum based on your Venus placement? Are you seeing everything as a conflict because you got Venus in Aries? Or are you seeing it as a, that's on the negative side, you see everything as a conflict, but on the positive side of Venus and Aries, you see it as an opportunity to demonstrate your strategic prowess as a general. Aries is the god of war. So all war tactics, all, general moves and outsmarting people and, avoiding direct conflict to win a longer war is Venus and Aries energy. Strategic thinking to win the war. But the lower side of Venus and Aries, they're attacking me and you're just going to blow up and get out of control and boisterous and all that. Instead of figuring out how you can, strategically, benefit from the situation. You got to understand your Venus nature. You have to understand your Venus nature. Your Mercury, that's your communication. That's your thought process. When you look at your Mercury sign, and you see, your Mercury is in Sagittarius. Are you communicating in ways that, you're arrogant and you think nobody knows more than you? Or, are you judgmental because, Sagittarius is natural ruler of the ninth house. Ninth house is a house of judgment and law. So you have a tendency to have a moral superiority. Are you seeing people as spiritually beneath you, or are you opening up your mind to the strange possibility that you're not the only motherfucker who has knowledge and spiritual power? The more you understand the positive and the negative way you think, the more capable you are of adopting a thinking style that allows you to successfully communicate with people, to successfully network, to successfully, express ideas that other people are receptive to. You have to understand your chart if you want to have a life that is fulfilling and that makes an impact on other people. That's why we're here. We're here to have a good time and experience a human experience, but we're here to impact other people. From the day that we're born, we're impacted, the lives of other people, our parents, the doctor is being impacted on a level, the nurses, everybody's being impacted. Your siblings, your family members are bringing another person into the family, into the tribe. Everybody's being impacted. Everybody's being impacted, man. With adversity and struggle in life, we come to underestimate the impact that we have on other people, society, and I'm not talking about like voting and shit like that. I'm talking about by being aware of who you're meant to be and being the person who you're meant to be, which allows you to, shine at your greatest capacity and have impact. Your light naturally attracts the people that you're meant to impact. You attract the people based on the frequency that you put out. But just like, you attract people with your frequency, if you're not at the level where you're supposed to be at, because you've allowed this, illusion to human experience to, numb you, bitter you, humiliate you, weaken you to the point where you're not willing to put yourself out there and attract the people. You've dimmed your light so people can't find you who are meant to interact with you in this life, that have soul contracts with you, that are meant to uplift you and uplift you and uplift you so you can have a greater and greater impact. If you're not whole, you're not going to be able to attract the people that you're meant, that can help you make a bigger impact on humanity, and you're not going to be able to make the impact that you're meant to make. So for the solstice again, I truly hope that you do something to request more light, a resurrection of your light that the human experience tends to dim. Deep dive into your Mercury and your Venus and start to remember who you are. Look into that mirror, man. Look into that mirror and see your true nature. And act according to your nature. And you will find that when your Venus aligned, everything that's meant for you comes to you. I'm about to go lay down with my baby, man. I hope y'all have a good solstice, good holiday, and share this video with people who need to hear it.